for Unit 3, 5th grade, Murfreesboro City Schools, Circle Fractions, NF 1 and 2. We're going to use paper plates for our circle fractions, and you can tell that I've used these plates for telling time and stuff like that. I have to do a lot of different things with my paper plates. But for today, my yellow whole plate will be my one whole. And I just let the kids play with these, and I do make them myself. So if you go to Dollar Tree and buy packs of 20 paper plates, make sure you get the same kind of groove so that they fit into each other, and get 4 different colors. I've done red for my halves. So let's look at this so far. We've got a number line that we've had since 3rd grade. I've got a 0 and a 1, and of course this paper plate is my one whole. Now let's look at this. How many halves does it take to make a whole? Okay, 2 halves make a whole. And 1 half, where will that be on my number line? Where will I have my 1 half on my number line? And so we hope that the kids will be able to put it right here in the middle. Okay, my 1 half. So let's draw what we have so far to work on equivalences at the beginning of 5th grade with our fractions. This is my one whole, my circle paper plate. My red 1 half, 2 of these equal size pieces make the whole. And this is a picture of one of the 2 equal pieces. And then I have my 2 halves that make my whole. So I show that on the number line, and I show this in my notes as I'm taking notes of what I'm constructing. And I'm going to have the kids look at this. Notice fractions that are equivalent to 1 as we're building that benchmark that we should already have. And think about this too. When we're looking at 1 half, 1 is half of 2. When I see fractions that the numerator's half the denominator, I think about that fraction is equivalent to 1 half. And also think about this, that I put both of these numbers at the same place on the number line because they take up the same space. 2 halves is the same as 1 whole. All right, let's look at the next thing. Let's look at our blue paper plate pieces that I've cut. Ooh, it takes 4 of them to make a whole. 4 of these make a whole. So let's look at, so this is 4 equal pieces make the whole. And I can also see that 2 of these make a half. So since it takes 4 to make a whole, these are my fourths. So my fourths, I've got a right angle right there. I have 4 equal pieces, and this is a picture of one of my 4 equal pieces. Then I need to put these on the number line so that my number line from 0 to 1 needs to be in 4 equal pieces. So I'm going to cut that half in half, and there's my 1/4, okay? And remember this, here's my 1 half, and how many fourths are on my 1 half? I've got my 2/4, and notice again, 2 is half of 4. Notice that structure of that fraction that's equivalent to 1 half. Then I've got my 3/4. And how many fourths did it take to make the 1 whole? It took 4/4 to make the 1 whole. So let's write this here. So we've got our 1 half is equivalent to 2/4. Our 1 whole is equivalent to 4/4. And the last piece we have here, we have our greens. And when I start placing them on the yellow whole, Ooh, I see I've made half so far, and it took me 4 of these pieces to make a half. Ooh, and it takes 8 to make the whole plate. So I'm going to draw a picture of what I have. This is my little 8 equal pieces, and that is 1 of 8 equal pieces. Okay. Now let's look at the 1/4, and they can discover most of this on their own. In the 1/4, how many of these 8s does it take to make the 1/4? Look at that. 2 8s equals 1/4. So if 2 8s equals a 4th, I've got to have that 1/8 there, my 2 8s there, my 3 8s, okay, and I can put it up or down as long as I've got it on the number line. My 4 8s, 4 is half of 8, that's my equivalence to the 1/2. So let's put that 4 8s here, okay, and then I've got 5 8s, 6 8s, 7 8s, and 8 8s, making the whole, okay? So I need to add that 8 8s here. And let's double check, make sure we've got everything, okay? The 8s had equivalences to everything. Now, let's look at this because I think this is a great thing to do when we need to review at the beginning of 5th grade, because if we don't review, we really don't know if they have all of this foundation. And I don't want to get into adding and subtracting fractions and then all of a sudden realize that my children do not have that basis of equivalence. So this is what I do to lay the foundation. Then, now I would love to do some adding. So let me see, let's do some addition here. Let's do 1/4 with unlike denominators plus 1/2. So you get the kids to pull them out. Okay, here's my 1/4. I've got 1/4 plus 1/2. Okay, I put these together. Okay, now I tell them this. I say, okay, you have to show me the answer in one color. I can't have red and blue. That goes to common denominator at a conceptual level. So here I've got, I know that I can cover that. I can make it all blue. I couldn't make it all red, but I can make it all, I've got 3/4. Then I'll ask them, I'll say, can you make it with the same color and fewer pieces? And in this instance, no, you cannot. So you can do all kinds of addition like that. Let's try a subtraction. So for a subtraction, let's go 1/2, take away 1/4. Okay, so I've got 1/2. Look at my half there. Now I'm not adding to this half. I want to take away 1/4. So I could, and a lot of kids will just put that 1/4 in. They'll say, oh, it's just a 1/4 is left if I take a 1/4 off. But a lot of times you'll get them to show the 1/2 as 2/4. That's an equivalence. If I take away 1, I have 1/4 left. You can let your kids do all kinds of explorations with paper plate fractions, circle fractions, and get this understanding before we just do the procedure for finding common denominator.